This is public access, the Skinny Jeans edition playtest part three. A couple of rules, notes, and changes for the playtest before we continue. And then we'll kick off with some leftover things from last time. Rule change the first. The TV Odyssey question, what happened to TV Odyssey, is no longer a complexity 8, it's now a complexity 6. I think that's the right number. And the second change is that you can still bump up an answer or a die result and answer a question in the normal way where you each mark something from your keys. Or if you still have the special key available from that mystery, you can just mark that. And that will bump up answer a question. So now you have an incentive to hold on to it until you're ready to answer that question, which also should have it does indeed, because I figured this out from the writing retreat playtest. It has the follow-on effect of that special mask or key getting marked and narrated at the most dramatically interesting time for that mystery, right? When you're getting ready to solve it. Um, so yeah, know that you can still burn it like normal for to bump up your own die roll, but you can save it for answer a question. So those are the two rules changes, both of which are in the Latchkey's favor, I think. So that's good because this is otherwise a really tight experience for the Latchkeys, as we're about to see at the outset. Okay, so with all that said, I am fully caught up, and I'll catch us up in a bit. But we have just a little bit of the last night phase to resolve still. Katie, you and well, first of all, you were owed a clue from your last die roll. You got your Odyssey tape, but I didn't give you the actual clue from it. The clue is going to be this. Whenever you get a chance to develop Daniel's pictures, and there will be a few days that pass between last night and today, or the last night phase and the next day phase. Whenever you get a chance to develop those pictures, you're going to discover that each time you clicked, because you flashed it, you clicked it multiple times, and you in the flash you saw the big man getting closer and closer, right? Kind of weeping angels style, right? But in the pictures, it's not the big man. In each picture, it's one of the missing kids from the lake. And they are each wearing a strange medallion around their neck. That is your clue. That same night, you and Joey Keene go back to Loon Cabin. All the kids are asleep, including Daniel. But the tape is still going, and you have no idea they were watching the Odyssey tape. But there's just a blue screen on the TV that pops to life with an image. There's something playing. What you see is you, Katie, as if shot from behind. On the grainy tape, you're holding something in your hands, but we can't see what it is from this angle. But we see that you are walking into the lake. And whatever you're holding in your hands, you let it go into the lake. You check the VCR and you find out that that's the end of the Odyssey tape. And if we were still playing this phase, I would probably make you roll a night move, but we're going to just skip that for now. That night, you dream about that moment. And in the dream, you can actually see what you laid into the lake, what you sacrificed into the lake. What was it?
I think from my childhood, I have a small pink chest with gold filigree and a little broken lock. It was just a little cheapo lock with a little heart-shaped key, a little memory chest. And inside of this memory chest, I had a whole bunch of memorabilia and mementos and tchotchkes that were from my childhood, specifically about my younger siblings that have gone missing. Little cards and drawings that they have done, little games that we have played together. And that is what I can see disappearing under the water. It flips open as it sinks down into the murk, and the cloudy water fills in the colorful drawings, the colorful pictures. They start to become muddied and brown as they disappear into the dusty water.
Fantastic. This is a special rule that gets invoked by watching a tape in Loon Cabin. I want you to take a condition called I Dream of Deep Lake. This condition can only be cleared if you, Katie, make that offering, or a sort of metaphorical representation of the offering, into the actual lake. It's a tough condition to clear. But if you do clear it, you get to unmark the chromatic desert and the wandering monolith if you have them marked. So it can kind of buy you a couple of keys of desolation. Let's recap from last time. You have two active mysteries, the house on Escondido Street and the Deep Lake Lurker. The house on Escondido Street, you had one question that you had to sort out, which is what happened to the Rappaport family. And you unlocked a new question when you opened the closet door of Elliot's bedroom. There are some hints that Elliot is still in the house somewhere. And you now have a new question. How can we lure Elliot to us? It's a complexity 2. It unlocks Elliot as a reward. Since we are doing a playtest, I do want to kind of point out that there is this sort of power gamey thing you could do here, which is you could dump a bunch of clues on this complexity 2 question in hopes of getting a 12 plus on the answer and thereby getting an extra Odyssey clue out of it, right? Just one thing to kind of keep in mind. Of course, that wouldn't help you with the house itself, but just a little thing to point out that occurred to me as I was thinking about it today. Speaking of clues, you have 5 clues in total for this mystery. That mystery, just as a recap, had a really, really dramatic end, or at least the bit we saw ended really dramatically last time with Patient's head possessed by something crawling around on the ceiling, with the Elliot or the spirit of Elliot or whatever it is kind of getting out of the closet. We did see a couple of alternative timelines, but keys were turned and the two of you did manage to escape safely. The Deep Lake Lurker, you have one question, which is the Deep Lake Lurker an actual beast or is it some sort of transformed Jessica Stosky? You have 3 clues currently on that complexity 4 question. That third clue I just gave you, we just talked about it, the kids with the strange medallions. You have both of your special keys available on those, so whenever you do get ready to answer those questions, if you want to, save those and bump up the result, that's a good time to use those. You've watched 2 Odyssey tapes. You have found a third one, and every latchkey has 3 conditions right now. So, the Noose tightens in Skinny Jeans edition. The jeans get tighter and tighter. Let's go ahead and begin. We are moving into a new layer of the mystery, and so I need everyone to turn a key of the child, please.
Well, I guess I'll start things off then because I've marked one. I marked a flashback showing how you were an outsider among your school peers. I've thought a lot about how Stephen Knudsen was an outsider. We see the crowded interior hallways of an elementary school in Deep Lake, or more like a middle school, I'd imagine, given the timeline. A thick crowd of adolescents are pressed in the hallways, bright sunlight filtering in through the narrow windows at the top, casting long kind of afternoon shafts against the rows of flaking green painted lockers, all of them with their own stickers and decals, glowing, oh, not glowing, glittery Lisa Frank unicorns on one, sports posters on another, a corkboard advertising a school play. And kind of in the midst of this throng, we see an adolescent Steve Knudsen, still hair shaved close to the scalp, still weirdly reminiscent of an egg in both his appearance and size, very pale, wearing a he's a you know a chunkier kid, but he's still wearing like a shirt that's like 2 sizes bigger than what he should be wearing, just tented out, and his backpack burdened with books. He is moving through the hallways. You can actually see that there's a bit of a bubble that forms around him as he's moving through the kids. You see some faces scrunch up. A couple of people make an expression of like disgust, and a few girls with their hair scrunchies even do kind of an over dramatic like pu kind of like hand wave by their noses, because as a kid from basically the border of the Great White North, he has never quite acclimatized to the temperatures and overall like heat and sunshine of New Mexico. And as we've seen in a previous key of his, where kids called him Porky at camp, here at school, Steve was known as that sweaty kid. He is glossy. He is always in a sheen of sweat, and his is the sweat that just smells bad. People are always remarking about how sweaty Steve, smelly Steve, those kind of stuff. He couldn't do anything about it. It didn't help that he was kind of like staunchly stubborn against the use of deodorant, but I mean, he just was always kind of this outsider for things mostly out of his control.
I too will mark the key of the child, a flashback to showing how you were an outsider among your school peers. I suppose this is a little bit of a push to call it a key of the child because this takes place back in high school for Michael. Part of the sort of a senior project because, well, frankly, he had to like take like another class, and well, it might as well have just been a very easy A sort of type of deal. Art, just sort of thing. He was never really good at it by any stretch of the imagination. Like his hands would always shake when it came to drawing things, trying to get things accurate. It was as though like he had like double vision and was everything was just slightly always off. But the final project was just to be a recreation of like classic paintings, and they would have been shown up like they were being done on like the sort of a plaster board that you put in the ceiling tiles above, and like it would be like the finale of like the high schoolers graduating, and all sorts of like a proud moment for Michael. And he decided to do the Automats by Edward Hopper. It was a very lonely painting, sort of a reflection of how he felt growing up, sort of just staring down, stuck in your own little bubble of the world. And on the final like day of high school, where all the paintings are being placed up, you realize that his painting was changed. It was painted over. Instead of the maiden subject figure who was looking down at her coffee cup, she was looking out towards the audience, staring blankly.
I think I'm going to do a flashback to the moment when you realize childhood wasn't forever. We see young Katie. She is sitting in a drab, sort of run-down lawyer's office. There's a large table. Katie is seated at the head of it. On one side is her father and his lawyer. On the other side is her mother and her lawyer. And they are discussing who is going to take full custody of Katie after the divorce. And there's a lot of argument and shouting, lawyers trying to calm things down, trying to get the document signed, trying to get the agreement going through. Katie is staring out the window to her side. Across the street is a also run down building. It is cement and very brutalist in style. It has a big sign out front flashing the lights, even during the day. TV Odyssey, TV Odyssey, TV Odyssey. There's a barbed wire fence around this building, and it looks like a prison. And as she listens to her parents argue about her future with no real intent of care about where she should be, more to try and get a one up on the other, she watches that light flash and imagines being trapped behind the barbed wire fence herself.
Some days have passed since the events of that night. You have found 3 Odyssey tapes, but perhaps unnerved by the appearance of this strange, large man in the yellow suit, perhaps unnerved by the evil in the house in Escondido Street, to say nothing of whatever the hell's at the bottom of Deep Lake. You have not yet had the nerve to watch that 3rd tape, but you will. You have learned some things about what's going on. You think that there's something to do with basements and TV Odyssey because of some events that you experienced both in your life and on the tape. You think that maybe there's suggestions of vermin, of a nest. It's all a little hazy. And yet, it's as if the mysteries of Deep Lake want to be discovered. They want to be uncovered. No matter how unnerved you might be, they just keep coming and demanding your attention. For example, you have a new one. Zagreus. In the summer of 1985, 5 teenagers went missing from Deep Lake. Hutch Langley, Dieter Hoskins, Finn Carlson, Rachel Urieta, and Monique Jeffries. Prior to their disappearance, the teens frequented the Galaxia Arcade, playing games from opening until close. One day they stopped, and when school started back up, they were noticeably somber, even morose, all possessing a newfound obsession with death. The last picture taken of them before they vanished was featured in the school's yearbook. It showed the 5 teens sitting along the edge of the highway wearing t-shirts that had "The Styx Society" badly silkscreened on them. To this day, no one knows what happened to them, and their families have long since left the desert behind in search of a fresh start. 3 years ago, the game discussion forum Vector Void exploded with activity over a thread titled, "Does anyone remember Zagreus?" The original poster asked about an arcade game they vaguely remembered hearing of in the 80s but had not been able to find anything about. Several users responded, each claiming to know details of this mysteriously niche game. Nothing was concrete, however, until a user called Synkerly308 posted that Zagreus was developed by a company called Vertex Electronica, which closed in 1999. The user claimed to have interned there while the game was in development, though hadn't worked on it himself or themselves. Additionally, they said the game has secret levels that can only be accessed via unusual methods, though they did not indicate what those methods are. When other users connected the location of Vertex Electronica's old office, Deep Lake, New Mexico, with stories of the Styx Society and their disappearance, an urban legend about a cursed arcade cabinet was born. You play the game, you disappear. I suppose I have to direct the following to Michael. You're still active on the Vector Void forum.
Mm-hmm.
Lately, a user named Adafoy85 has been posting cryptic and hostile responses on any thread still discussing Zagreus. What harrowing message have you received from Adafoy85 suggesting they aren't just some troll and may actually be a threat to your safety?
I think at first it just seems that it was just a troll. It was just the Vegas like I'm going to get you, I'm gonna hurt you type of like threats and whatnot, and like that like the people on this forum are a little bit on the testy side, so you can never really take them seriously. However, particular phrase, because like we just know each other by usernames, but eventually Adafoy just said, "Why don't you just shut up, stupid Schroeder?" And he knew my last name, so he might be in Deep Lake, for all I know.
Interesting, interesting. Well, this situation gets even more interesting somehow. A Zagreus cabinet was found 1 week ago. Ephraim Goldman, the owner of the Galaxia Arcade, discovered it in a lot auction at the Me and My self-storage facility on the outskirts of town. Immediately recognizing the popularity of its surrounding legend, he had it installed at the shop and advertised its existence on Vector Void. Enthusiasts have started traveling from all over the country to play it. What the hell? Maybe you all can see if it's worth the hype. So you have here a couple of different things going on. A legend about a group of teenagers that disappeared in 1985, the existence of this video game company in Deep Lake, the fact that these missing teens used to go to the Galaxia Arcade and were really into video games. This cabinet has become the center of an urban legend associated with death cults and all sorts of other strange alleged disappearances and things. All of it's kind of coming together in Deep Lake, right?
Mm-hmm.
They've found one of these rare cabinets. They have one at the Galaxia Arcade, the very arcade that the teens went missing from in '85, or that they frequented, the missing teens. In any case, you have a question here that is maybe more pressing. Michael, who is Adafoy85? Why are they doing this? AKA, why are they threatening you? Why do they know your name? It's complexity 4. You can remove them as a danger in this mystery by unmasking them and then either convincing them to let the situation go or otherwise neutralizing the threat they pose. There's also a Zagreus question here, which is, how do you access Zagreus's so-called secret levels? That's a complexity 2. If you can do that, you get a new move called Press Start. So, maybe not the most immediately pressing mystery, except that this person, Adafoy85, seems really serious, Michael. So you do what you will with that. Let's talk about the day phase. I want to go around and see what everyone's interested in doing. If you want to do nostalgic move, that's great. I think that's well advised. Katie, you can only clear one of your conditions right now. 2 of them are not clearable. So that's something to be mindful of. Let's just see what everyone's interested in doing. So what do you think, Steve?
Well, I would also like to remind that we have a move that needs to be resolved
The
at the
truth
start
is
of the
out
session.
there.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, that's your move, Michael. Do you
Yeah.
want to define the clue, or do you want me to define it?
I would like to define the clue.
Okay.
It's quite frankly that Michael has a shirt of the Stick Society.
Oh, nice. Good. Just one more layer to this whole Zagreus situation.
Who is Michael Schroeder?
I know, that's great. It functions as a clue. It's not attached to any particular mystery, though it really does seem like it's attached to Zagreus. We'll see. That's fantastic.
Has insanely fun implications though for attaching it to other mysteries if we did. So
Yeah, it kind of does, doesn't it?
You know what? I'll keep it to free form for now. Then.
Yeah. Well, so Michael, you have another one of these clues too that we haven't used, correct?
Yes. A clue. I know what you did. Ransom note with magazine lettering. So
Oh, yeah,
Michael
okay,
keeps
good.
on receiving threatening things.
Yeah, it's
this is a character
interesting.
theme.
I feel like Michael's maybe a danger to everyone in the house,
Yeah.
and indirectly perhaps, but good. Well, so Steve.
Yeah. I think that because we ended off with like a very dramatic moment at Escondido Street, that it would be good to have a nostalgic move. I mean, obviously between all three of us, but mostly just focusing on the Michael and Steve aftermath of the weird shit we did last night and the weird man we met last
Well,
night.
it would have been a few nights ago, so you're
Oh, a
actually
few nights
kind,
ago.
you've
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of like maybe been like
Mhm.
repressing it.
Yeah, exactly.
For a bit.
Night mechanical, not time.
Indeed, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Well, and also, yeah, that's great. Don't forget, you do have to wax nostalgic about something that takes you back. But I think it's a great scene. Michael, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm definitely wanting to clear conditions because I cannot continue to be haunted trying to investigate this mystery.
Yeah, yeah. Katie, what do you want to do?
Well, I'm going to get those pictures that Daniel developed. I'm going to bring them to Daniel because I owe him that.
They are his
And
intellectual property, he will remind
exactly,
you.
he's already said it, and I
Yeah,
had a verbal agreement with this the kid. So,
yeah.
and I think yeah, I'm gonna head back to Deep Lake, and I want to, because of this dream that I had and this experience I had with the Odyssey tape. I think I want to check more out about there, specifically around the lake, if there's any locations that I haven't looked at yet.
Yeah, I think that's great. Okay, so you're heading back to Pine Rock Ridge then. Love that. Well, let's have the scene with Michael and Steve then. Whoever wants to frame it up, please do, and let's have it.
Yeah, I think it makes sense for us to do this at Rodenbecker,
Mhm.
just because it's been a few days. I think Steve is going to be coming into the house like he was maybe doing like a convenience store run. So what would Michael be doing, do you think?
Uh, like I think it's probably like laundry day or something.
Mhm.
Just to implement the clue harder. I think like Michael is wearing the Stick Society shirt currently.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah, okay. If you're cool with me framing up the scene like this, chaotic, I think what we have happen is Steve is entering Rodenbecker. He's like stepped out. He's got some, simple plastic bags of chips and sodas, or as he calls them, pop. And he's very sweaty. It's a hot day, but he's also very sweaty. And he's in the kitchen getting things unpacked when you're probably like moving through the adjoining room with like your pamper because you're like you're taking it to be folded. Is Michael a fold in his bedroom kind of guy, or like I fold in like the main, like where there's like a big table kind of guy? In this case, the kitchen.
The main table type of guy, because like
Cool.
frankly, like you don't want to be folding like on your bed or anything because like it's like there's like hair or whatever in it.
Yeah, that's great. So then I think that's where the scene begins, is when you're like stepping in, is he's pulling like chips and in the bottles of pop out of the bags and like opening the fridge. He actually opens the freezer at one point and just kind of leans his head in it, and you just walk in with Steve with his head in the freezer, and he's just given like this soft like, oh yeah, that's the stuff.
It's been a few weeks. Like you still haven't adapted.
No, I honestly, I don't think Nudsons are built for this kind of climate. His head's still in the freezer. I had a grandpa who he got sunstroke in the winter when visiting Disneyland. He pulls his head out of the freezer and closes it and just like grabs like a paper towel and just like dabbing his face and goes, I honestly, I'm like, I figured that if it didn't get better by the time I'd reach 25, then I should probably see a doctor about it. But hey, got a few more years until I should probably be concerned. Uh, I mean, I'm a damp guy.
I would. No, I'm just going to keep it to myself.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh, but yeah. So how, besides the heat, how's it out there?
He like twists the plastic bottle off a thing of a Pepsi, and like swigs and he goes, "Oh, it's not so bad." I started chatting up with the convenience store. What is there like a word you guys got down here for like the like the cashier? It's like, oh, you guys call soda. Well, it's pop, but you guys say soda. Well, I say you guys as in like not deep Lake. You know what I mean? Just like where you're from.
Plural, you.
Yeah, like the royal you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the cashier.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, so I was talking to the cashier. She's cute. But no, I mean it was, nice day out. Didn't really do much. How about you? It's laundry day.
Mm-hmm.
I actually couldn't figure out how to get the cycle to like properly drain. I thought that it was like I had backed it up. Oh, but turns out I was just like opening it in the middle of a cycle. Uh, and so I tried hang drying my clothes and like a bunch of like bugs got in them, and that was just bad day. So I've been taking it to the laundromat over on Main.
Mm. Like I can like toss in the laundry and get it started, no problem. But like bugs crawling in the
Well,
wash.
it's like bugs that get attracted to the moisture. So it's
Mm.
like, oh, it's like so that it's a dry clean. I don't know how science works. So hey, much like that laundry outside, how's it hanging?
I mean, well, it's been a few days, and I know like we haven't talked about what happened back in the house. The house is evil.
Yeah.
It's haunted.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to use the word haunted, but I don't think I'm running out of runway to I don't know how to explain what happened to us. I think that it felt like something after we got out of the basement, after whatever that conversation with whoever that was, I was in the bedroom and I thought you know, I I thought something was in the closet and I opened it and it was empty. But I haven't been able to shake this feeling that it wasn't empty, but then it was. I don't know how to explain it. It's just like I felt for a moment that there was just. I mean, you know what deja vu is, right? You speak
Mhm.
French? Okay.
Yeah. Most people know what deja vu is. It's a
Okay.
loner word.
I learned the word from my second uncle's second wife who's from Quebec. So I figured maybe it was one of those like Quebecois things. So uh but yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so yeah, it was like that, like deja vu.
Uh, it's more okay. This is probably it would go over your head, but I have to explain it anyways.
Okay.
I've while growing up and even to now to a certain extent, I have a subscription to a dungeon magazine as well as other tabletop role-playing games and magazines. And like this sort of thing gets described fairly often of where you go down a hallway, but then you sort of retroactively like sort of reverse that decision. And I think that's kind of what's happening with this, but it's more like in a time travel type of way where you're going down and you make one choice, but then you made a different choice in a different timeline. But however, because it happened at the same time, it sort of like echoes across the patterns. So you're just witnessing something that happened in another time.
Okay, you lost me a little bit after you mentioned Dungeon Magazine. I followed a little bit. Like I knew I had some like pals that like got like really into that. Like, was that like the third version of that game that came out a few years ago, third edition? I guess they call it. I not really
Yeah,
my bag,
serpents and
but
sepulchres.
oh, I don't know. I don't know that one. Anyway, so I was thinking, did not really catch a lot of that, but I was thinking about it more in the context of, are you like a TV guy?
Yeah.
Okay, so you watch Twin Peaks, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love Twin Peaks. Like at first, like I was not really into it because this is weird. I mean, like I have like I had a third cousin who was really into like Eraserhead as like a film, and like David Lynch's body of work is not really my cup of tea. I kind of think he's a bit of an overbloated sack, but I started like watching Twin Peaks because I was interested. I really like police procedurals. But like something about that show like just like grabbed me as it was the strangeness of it all. And I mean, obviously, is to be like, hey, I mean, this is new, this is weird. I mean, usually we find out who killed the cheerleader at the end of the episode, but now we got an entire season where everyone's asking the same question of who killed Laura Palmer. Anyway, sorry, I'm rambling. I tend to ramble. He takes another long swig from his Pepsi. But look, there was it's a weird show, right? But like the weird things happen in it, and there's all that stuff that goes on with Dale Cooper, with his like dreams and his visions and stuff. And I can't help but like shake this feeling that like when we were talking to that ridiculously large guy, that it kind of felt like the Red Room. It just had that sense of like that liminal space, and he kind of like looks left, looks right, and like sets his Pepsi down the table and like gets like real close up to Michael's face, like whisper as if they were being, listened to by someone else. He goes, I don't think that guy was just a vagrant, Mike.
No, the house is haunted. However, I'm not sure if like he's part of the haunting or not, or is it just deep like weirdness? Because like I know over the years, like several people have been kidnapped and disappeared and whatnot. This is just a thing that happens.
Okay, so you're going off of haunting. I'm going off of something that I don't really know what it is, but maybe it's a haunting, maybe it's not. I don't necessarily think it could be. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, well, good talk. I pats him on the shoulder.
Listen, I'm very tempted to call up some buddies of mine, but however, last time we talked, it really didn't go over well. Like some of them aren't here anymore as well, so that's a bit of an issue.
Well, my condolences. Like here and so they're like as in they moved away, not that they died.
Oh no, they got kidnapped at some point. We're pretty sure. Right? We're just not sure like what kidnapped them or whatnot. Like
did they come back?
As far as I know, no.
Well, I mean, like the police probably know something about that, so you could probably check it. No? Huh.
Did you not like I know like you wanted to like investigate like TV Odyssey and whatnot, but you didn't really expect that where we were just gonna like end up in effectively Twin Peaks. Like that this is what Deep Lake is.
Gosh, I wish I was in Twin Peaks. Washington is such a more comfortable climate to live in.
Yeah, this is Deep Lake is the desert version of Twin Peaks.
It's dry Twin Peaks. Okay. Weird. So then in that case, is TV Odyssey our Laura Palmer, or is there like a body that we're gonna find wrapped in plastic soon?
Hopefully TV Odyssey remains our Laura Palmer, but you never know.
Okay. So what do you think was up with the owls?
I love it. That's a perfect cut. Wow. Who wants to make a case for feeling better about one of their conditions so much that it doesn't affect you
I
anymore?
actually think that at least on my end, I'm cool clearing haunted
I think haunted
because
makes
I'm
sense. Yeah.
yeah, Steve was more like, I don't know if it's a haunting, it's weird, but I'm not sure if I feel like haunted.
Yeah, yeah. What do you
Uh,
think, Michael?
I think the darkness in a weird way because I still feel like insecure about the place being haunted and the big man. But however, the darkness, I think it's just been long enough that it's just like,
Yeah, I'll take
uh,
that. You have bigger fish to fry.
yeah.
Um, I love that. That's great. You will both get to also define a clue in the scene as well, something you may have stumbled on or realized. Be thinking of what that is. Let's check in with Katie. Katie, I'm gonna a couple of things to get your attention as you arrive at Pine Rock Ridge. You can choose to engage with them or not. When you pull up, there's another car there, and there's a man in the car on his cell phone, and he's like arguing really loudly with someone on the cell phone. The window's rolled up, so you can't quite make out what he's saying, but you do overhear. You do overhear. Oh, actually, I need 1 second. Check a detail. Okay. It's been over 10 years since she disappeared. Why reopen the place now? And that's what you hear. If you listen just a little bit longer, you can tell that it's some kind of argument about reopening Pine Rock Ridge and maybe some sort of idea that it's being done as a sort of like revenge or to get back at someone or to make someone mad. So that's an interesting thing, maybe. Another thing you'll hear is down across the way at the trail that goes to the sort of like administrative part of the camp, such as it is. You'll hear blasting really, really loudly Paradise City by Guns N' Roses. On the main trail, down into the main part of Pine Rock Ridge, you'll see kids and camp counselors and all the normal sorts of things you expect to find. What do you do?
I I think I get out of my car, I lock the doors because I'm a city person now. And I'm going to walk towards where the trail where the admin buildings are. But as I walk by this car where there's this argument going on, I'm going to be fiddling with my bag and I'm going to accidentally spill these pictures out on the ground, and then I have to pick them all up. Oh no, what if I overhear even more?
I love it. That's really good. Go ahead and make a meddling move with composure.
All right, that is a 13.
Nice. 13. Very interesting
Speed running this.
indeed. I know, I know. I love it. Let me check back in with the other group. Do you know what that clue is yet, Alex and Chaotic?
Mhm. Uh, Last time, while we were in Escondido Street House, like there was just this sort of sense of deja vu with like Steve turning a key in Elliot's bedroom of like seeing like other things, and I think that could just be made into like a clue.
Oh, I see. Interesting. A sense of like seeing alternate
Mhm.
paths and timelines. Yeah, I like that. That's good. Let's take a 5 minute break and we will pick up after that. Scene is getting pretty interesting, Katie. You drop these pictures in an attempt to, whoops, and you're picking them up and You overhear this man in the car. He says, "It spit me back out, Mary. You know that is I don't want to go over this again. I walked into the water and it spit me back out." There's a little bit more pause. "It was our daughter, Mary. It is our daughter. What else would a father do?" All of that is your clue. And also, this man, you'll notice as you stand back up and look into the window of his back seat, has an Odyssey tape sitting in the back seat of his car. The door is unlocked, and you hear a thump, thump, thump. The big man is standing in the front of the car, slamming his big fist on the hood of the car, trying to get the man's attention. The man looks up and his eyes get a little wide when he sees this huge man in a yellow suit, and he drops the phone. And the big man says, "Excuse me, sir. I was wondering if I could ask you a question. I'm sorry to bother you. Well, could you help me with something over here? Over here in the tall grass?" And the man gets out, and then the big man looks at you knowingly, like, "Grab the tape." Do you?
Of course I do.
Indeed.
Absolutely. I try to do it really quietly. Like I'm still kind of crouched down to this up at the side of the car, and I think I just sort of crab walk backwards. And as soon as like I'm trying to listen to the footsteps, and as soon as I hear that they're out of earshot, I quietly open the door, the little click, and I as little as possible slink my hand in, grab the tape, quietly close the door,
I love it.
and then I'm gonna hustle off.
The label on the tape is Deep Lake, off the beaten path. Let's go back to Michael and Steve. What do the two of you get up to after you're done with your scene at the house? Do you go your separate ways? What's next?
I think Steve's splitting off. Yeah.
Where are we headed?
I think kind of in that afternoon, Steve actually is gonna go to this self-storage place that the Zagreus cabinet was found out. Steve is less interested in the Zagreus as a thing, but he does kind of think fondly of like those like he likes Storage Wars. I think that's the thing at this time.
I love it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, that's fun. What are you gonna do, Michael?
Uh, Michael is very interested in Zagreus itself, so let's go to the arcade.
I love it. Why don't we pick up with the arcade? So, when you arrive, there is a line out the door. Word has reached the internet about the appearance of Zagreus in Deep Lake. People have come from all over. There is a line out the door. There's a man who you'll remember from back in the day, Ephraim Goldman, owner of the Galaxia Arcade, FG, he's known as affectionately. He's a very old, wiry man. He's much more sort of, he's much more like withered and jaundiced than you recall. He still has his big 4-barrel coin changer on his belt, right? And he's excited. He loves all this new business. He's kind of like working the line a little bit, like don't worry, there'll be plenty of time to play Zagreus. Here. Let me get you some change there, son. Love that. That's great. You know. If you don't want to stand in line from Zagreus, you can just walk into the arcade. But the line is for Zagreus. What do you do, Michael?
Oh, Michael is certainly standing in line, talking to like other people, just very excited of like about this because like he's like he himself has never gotten to play Zagreus, but he knows like he has friends back in the day who actually did, and it's just like it's very exciting to see it surface
You
once
are
again.
you are standing behind a an enthusiast, we'll say, wearing big, thick Coke bottle glasses, and all your base are belong to us T-shirt, naturally. Um, a Legend of Zelda lanyard. You kind of have that in common. I don't know if you're wearing your Triforce shirt or not today. What are you wearing today?
I said as I said earlier that it was laundry day, so like I still have like the sticks shirt on.
Oh, you have the stick shirt on. Oh, that's interesting. Um, yeah, so that will immediately catch this guy's attention. He's like, "Hey, Stick Society.
Mhm,
So you kind of follow the legends,
mhm,
right?"
absolutely.
Oh, it's so cool. Personally, I think the Stick Society, I think those kids were taken by aliens.
Nah, it there is other things out there.
No,
They
no, no, it's totally aliens. First contact, baby. I mean, it makes perfect sense that an advanced civilization would choose our most sophisticated form of art to establish a connection with the chosen few, right?
yeah, listen, like Deep Lake has its like own like aliens, but they're elsewhere. They're not interested in like video games.
Do you even
Now,
play video games?
dead silence from Michael for like a solid beat. Do I play video games? Why would I be wearing this if I didn't play video games?
Well, what does
Like
this have to do with video games? This is just an urban legend. Anybody can get on the internet.
anybody can get on the internet. But like, why would a non video gamer would like be interested in video game urban legends? Like, come on, use a brain.
All right, so then what's the Konami code?
God, my brain just died.
Oh, maybe not such a big fan after all. Maybe you're not quite as in deep as you think you are, if you don't even know the Konami code. I want the day move. What are you afraid is going to happen if you lose your nerve right now?
I don't think Michael is typically a violent person, but I think like I will start brawling this guy
I love
in
it.
blood.
Make the yeah, go ahead. If you don't want to, if you want to keep engaging with him, you need to make the roll. It's going to be with composure. Um, I don't think your conditions are going to apply here necessarily. No, you're fine.
I'm going to I'm going to mention like my sort of like home setup of like my computer and
Oh,
whatnot.
see, you're gonna like try to try to like get your bona fides in there.
Yeah, yeah, just geek cred. God, that's horrible.
What'd you get?
Well, a 3 with advantage.
With advantage. Ouch. Oh yeah. I'm gonna take over. You just draw back and you pop this guy right in the jaw, and he goes down. He goes down like Soda Popinski and Mike Tyson's Punch Out. He's just like and then slam down. Um, Bald bull straight on the mat. Everyone's like, whoa. And FG is like, hey, 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 no fighting, no fighting. Everyone's gonna get a chance to play. And it's just chaos breaking out. That's you're gonna have to just deal with that in a moment. I'm gonna cut back over to Steve. Steve, me and my self-storage. We'll get there in a moment. Well, first of all, it's on the outskirts of town, so I guess you're driving, right? Yeah, you're driving and you hear the boop, 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 boop. It looks like that sheriff is behind you.
Oh, all right. Gonna signal and pull off onto the shoulder.
He gets out, and it's a hot day. It's probably like north of 100 degrees Fahrenheit right now, and he has a nice sheen of sweat on his forehead and arms, and the little this little glistening tuft of hair coming out of his khaki shirt. Um, Sweat looks really good on him, and he comes up and he's like, "Hey, good to see you
Ah,
again."
good afternoon, Sheriff Hanscom. How goes it?
Good, good. Sorry, as you know, I probably don't really have probable cause for pulling you over right now. This is just a friendly check-in.
Oh, sorry, just one second. He like cranks the AC down by like 6 notches so you can actually hear him over the roar of the fan, and
Yeah.
just says, "Yeah, no, absolutely. What can I do for you, Sheriff?"
Well, it's Patient's head. She seems to
Oh,
be really worried about you and your friends. I guess you're making some kind of TV show or something. And
no,
she says
nothing.
that there was an
Mm.
incident inside 18 Escondido Street. And look, I'm not here to like, artistically, yuck your yum or whatever. But I just want you to be careful, okay?
Absolutely. No, I consider myself a law-abiding citizen, would hate to cause any trouble. And, that patient's head, she certainly is a perceptive woman.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, so if you don't mind me asking, what were you doing over in that
Well,
house?
well, frankly speaking, you want to know the truth, Sheriff Hanscom? I'll give you the truth. I have to
Yeah.
tell you right up front, my buddy Michael and I, big on ghost hunting. And urban legends, well, it's more of his bag. He's more of the ghost guy. I got to tell you, I heard stories, I heard legends, and I admit I did the irresponsible thing and was honestly just poking my nose probably where it shouldn't have been, just because I was interested in local legends. I admit that I was being a little bit too brown nosy.
Uh, we do have a lot of strange stories in Degoya County. I don't know. I mean, you said you used to live here, right? If I remember
Oh
correctly.
yeah, way back when I was much younger. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
briefly.
I, I, I'm surprised we didn't know each other. I mean, well, I guess I probably would have been a little bit older than you,
Oh
and
yeah, no, I was barely cresting out of middle school by the time I moved away.
yeah, yeah, I was a little older than that, and gosh, I spent all my time just, hanging out with girls and going to parties and being popular and stuff.
Wow. Were you? I mean, you got the. Were you like a? Were you on like a team? Where did you do this? Did you do sports here?
He's looking a little wistful now. He's like, those were good times, let me tell you.
That sounds like it.
Football games on Friday nights, house parties on Saturday, then sleeping it all off on Sunday after church, of course.
Of course.
He's just kind of going
Wow.
on like this a little bit.
And Steve is just like nodding enthusiastically, nodding and says, I mean, that sounds like the life, really. I mean, I have some friends who said that they couldn't that high school was like just the beginning, but I don't know. It seems like that's like a peak for a lot, and that's like such a summit. And now you're sheriff. I mean, clearly you got to figure it out, Sheriff Hanscom.
Yeah, I guess, I love my community. What can I say? I want to serve my community.
And it shows. I got to tell you, I mean, I feel safe. But not only do I feel safe, I feel welcomed. Like that that the police force here, is it the Degoya County Sheriff's Department? Is that
Yeah,
what it?
yeah.
Oh yeah, I feel like the Degoya County Sheriff's Department is like it actually, like, it's got its eye out for the
Hey,
people
if
of
you're
the.
looking for some material for your TV show, you really should look into the La Fresca Senior High prom fire. Back in 1986, you probably remember
I
fire.
think I do remember that.
Right, fire broke out mid-dance in the school's gymnasium. Over 100 students and teachers were killed.
Oh my
Um,
God.
you know, not a lot of people know
Yeah.
this, but not all the victims actually died of burns or smoke inhalation. They say that some people died from, some of them died from blunt force trauma, two head wounds that suggested an animal attack. One was actually decapitated. Well, at least that's what, according to legend, anyway.
And that was at La Fresca High.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot going on in
Yeah.
this whole county. It's not just Deep Lake.
No, exactly. Yeah, and and that's why I wanted to reassure not just you, but also the astute Miss Head that just I don't want to step on any community's toes. So that one house is there are other things that I am happy to pay attention to and look into that aren't disrupting the peace and the peace of mind that the HOA of that area wishes to have.
So many weird things, you know?
Like a
Like
lot of weird things.
Christmas Day, 1962, nearly every occupant of every home on Murphy Street in Rio Canyon disappears without a trace. Over 250 people. No bags are packed, no cars are missing. Christmas dinner still in the oven in a lot of cases. The only
It's
person accounted for on Murphy Street was little Tommy Viejo.
Oh, Tommy Viejo, where's he at these days?
Who can say? But
Oh,
back then, that day, police found him carefully unwrapping his presents near his family's Christmas tree.
that is weird. So, well, then I'm curious, Sheriff. I mean, you got a lot of these stories about the weird things that you've heard about, but like, all right, Sheriff, what's the weirdest thing you've like personally seen or experienced here?
You can make the meddling move with presents because of your latchkey move. You can make it with
Mhm.
advantage
Yes,
because
absolutely.
you get
Happy
advantage when you
to.
deal with cops.
Mhm. Bootlicker Steve. Wow, that's a 3. Oh no, with advantage. Let's see if I do any better. Um, that is, you're never gonna believe this, a 7. Thank
Okay,
God. Huh. I rolled a 1, a 2, and then a 5, so thank God.
we'll come back to this in a moment. Fun scene though. Katie, right? You get the tape. You do. Where do you head after that?
I am going to head down to where the music is blasting.
Okay, good. Yeah. Um. Oh yeah. You get to what must be like the office or something. In fact, we'll say there is. There's a sign that says Pine Rock Ridge, admin offices or something. And like all the other buildings in the camp, it's just a little log cabin thing. There is a bright orange Camaro parked on the grass or the gravel in front of this building. And that is where the Guns N' Roses is blasting from. Take me down to Paradise City. Da, 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 da. Standing atop the Camaro is a man, quite muscular, bare chested, jorts, tan lines from where his tank top t shirts normally are, total party mullet, aviators, nunchucks. In fact, he's practicing his nunchucks on top of the hood of the car. What do you do? Besides fall hopelessly in love.
Good Lord. I think I'm just going to walk by and I'm going to say, nice chucks.
He and he hops down from the car and he gets closer to you so you can hear him over the music. And he says, "Are you also a student of karate?"
Well, I'm a cheerleading coach of a award-winning cheerleading troupe. It's similar.
Practically the same thing. High kicks. He does a high kick. Splits. He doesn't do a split. He does do some nunchucks though. So, you're looking for a job as a camp counselor, eh?
Oh, I'm kind of just looking around, seeing what's available. Are you a counselor here?
Well, guess what? It's your lucky day because you're hired.
What? No interview? No checking my references?
Oh, you've already done the interview and you've passed with flying colors.
Lucky me.
So just head over to the office there, grab your vest, and we'll do some safety training or something, or somebody will.
And will I get to see you later?
Oh, yeah. You can see as much of me as you want.
And what's your name, or should I just call you Karate Man?
You can call me Hawk, but my professional Christian name is Billy James, though I'm not Christian, I'm Buddhist.
Oh, are you also a vegetarian?
No, I don't believe in that shit. I am a 100% carne man. Give me all the meat, every bit of it.
Wow. That must make you really strong. All that protein.
You know, I've been told I have a pretty good physique.
And how long have you been working here? You must know everything about this place.
Yeah, I do know everything about this place because I am the owner. He cracks his muscles. Crack, crack, crack.
I do a big like gasp, like so impressive.
Yeah, I opened the place back up this year. Pissed off everybody in town. Everyone's all pissed because there were some kids that went missing back in the 90s. But that's why I bought it up, reopened it, you know, to shake things up, piss off the establishment. It's kind of my way.
I like it, sticking it to the man.
Yeah, it's exactly what
So,
it's like.
have you seen anything weird since you reopened this place?
Make the meddling move with presence.
I don't know if I hate this guy or love this guy. uh, ooh, that's a 7.
Fantastic. So you got a clue on the table. Looks like Steve has a clue on the table. Let's check in with Michael. Michael, you just punched a guy out. FG, like, he's like, "What are you doing?" And he like kind of grabs you, you know, and he's like pulling you into the arcade to get you away from this person you just punched. Do you go
Mhm.
willingly?
I think so, just because not with like how with like some like a very dirty look, because like you gotta respect FG, man. Like he's the dude.
You get inside the arcade proper, and there's a pervasive smell of dust, old sweat, cheap pizza, a stuttering grind of very underperforming AC units. Let's paint the scene, everyone. Galaxia Arcade was the place to be for any tween or teen in late 1980s Deep Lake. What is your favorite memory from the Galaxia Arcade, and what still persists into the present day that reminds you of it?
I'm into classic games myself. Mrs. Pac-Man, of course, the little ghosts and the fruits. I mean, fruit is such an important part of your daily diet. It's really healthy for you. I know it's a lot of sugar, but it's a good kind of sugar. And I think Miss Pac-Man knows what's up about really empowering women.
I mean, the AC that was mentioned. There's one specific part of the it's where like where the AC is just like blasting directly overhead. You can stand under it, and it feels amazing. And Steve used to like stand right there and just play the hell out of the pinball machines. And it's the exact same model AC unit from all those years ago, and it's not as cold, but it's certainly the same model.
I think there is just this like it's in a similar like genre of Zagreus, which Michael did get to play, but like it is the old Gauntlet arcade machine. Like like he remembered playing the hell out of that sort of game, but like now it has like a sort of I believe an updated version called Gauntlet Dark Legacy. So like it instead of like just like the 2D graphics, it's now
Hmm.
like 3D like beat 'em up sort of type of deal.
Fantastic. Well, so Michael, he kind of sits you down on a bar stool near the little concession stand, and he says, "What are you doing?"
Well, like if it wasn't going to be me that was going to like hit him, it was going to be someone else. And frankly, at least with me, it was just one hit. Like,
I think he sees your Stick Society T-shirt, and he says, "So, I guess you kind of believe the stories about Zagreus, then?"
yeah.
Right, right. Well, can you listen? I wait. I think I know who you are.
Listen, yeah, like I was here like every other weekend.
No, 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 no. You're part. You're you're the you're with that group of kids that's making the TV show, the documentary about Deep Lake.
Like, I mean, yeah, like, but it's not going to be a TV show. But like, we're investigating things.
Ah,
More like Scooby Doo, if I'm going to be honest.
so it's like one of those ghost shows or like urban legend shows. I get it. That explains your interest in the video game cabinet.
Mhm.
I like that. You know, I imagine something like that would be really, really great publicity for Galaxia Arcade.
Yeah.
You can see the wheels spinning in his head. He says, I tell you what, I think we can maybe come to some kind of arrangement.
Mhm.
I mean, if you want to make Zagreus part of your show, I'll I'll get this riffraff out of here, and you can have as much time on the machine as you want. Just say the word
Mhm.
whenever you want.
Mhm. Yeah, I think possibly I need to like lay down for a little bit just because like again, a bunch of people did see me like hit a guy.
He's like, yeah, well, I mean, you know, if I'm being perfectly honest, that kid had the kind of face that just deserved to be punched.
Mm-hmm.
I think most people would forgive you. Do you like pizza?
Yeah, I like pizza.
Great. And he goes and gets you a slice of the most like stale looking under the heat lamp pizza you've ever seen. Puts it on a white paper plate,
Mm-hmm.
and which the grease is already soaking through. And he says, "There you go. Just stay here, calm down. Don't attack anyone. I'll go get the line calmed down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
And
Michael's just
then
gonna be eating pizza.
let me know when you want to get that, whenever you want to like if you need to get some like I don't know what do they call that? Like, you know, the environment shots or whatever, some
Mhm.
B-roll or whatever for your program of the
Yeah.
arcade. You can definitely do that. Maybe an establishing shot
Hmm.
of the line.
Yeah.
Great. And he leaves you to it.
Yeah. Michael will take a couple bites of pizza before getting up to like go elsewhere.
You'll hear a couple people walking away from the Galaxia or from the Zagreus machine, and they're like, it kind of sucked. They're like, yeah, it didn't really do anything. They all seem really disappointed. Like the game is not any good. Let's check in with Steve. Steve, the sheriff, is like, yeah, I mean, a lot of weird stuff, you know? I mean, You know about what happened in 1997, right?
Uh, no. What happened in 97?
Well, La Fresca Senior High again.
Okay.
19 students climb to the top of the school building, 4 stories. They recite the Pledge of Allegiance, and then they jump in unison, plunging to their deaths.
Why the Pledge of Allegiance? You saw that? You were there for that?
Well, no, I wasn't there for that. I'm aware of
Oh,
it.
okay.
That didn't, that story didn't go wider? You never heard about that where you were at?
I don't think so. No. I mean,
Oh,
I would, to be fair, I was pretty far up north, a pretty
okay.
isolated, small place, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
Um,
that is weird, but no one ever found like why they did that. They just suicide packed and then jumped off. Huh?
well, it's just one more entry in a ledger of weirdness here in Degoya County.
There is a lot of weirdness in this county, that is for sure. But
Do you know
you
about the doors? The little doors?
the little doors?
Oh yeah, the little doors.
Like how little are we talking here?
Well, I mean, not like gnome or elf doors, but
Okay.
sort of small but
Okay.
otherwise regular sized doors. Anyway, these doors started appearing on buildings, mostly in Deep Lake, but there was a couple in Rio Canyon and White Spray, painted on walls. They were kind of very, very realistically rendered doors. Like you could walk right up and just grab the handle and turn it, you know? In
These
fact,
oh,
if I remember correctly, one of those doors appeared on the side of 18 Escondido Street.
interesting. I don't he kind of like thinks back for a moment and in his mind's eye, does or rather in his memory, does Steven think that now thinking back on it, that the door in the basement he and Michael went through was actually painted on with a real knob? They just didn't notice that in the darkness, or was that different?
There was
Okay.
nothing there. No,
Okay.
there was just a
Gotcha.
wall after that.
Okay.
He's like, yeah. We there was a whole like thing. One in in Deep Lake, Patience actually was the one who led the charge in having all these doors painted over.
Oh, like okay. So Patience had them all painted over. Like I don't suppose you remember where a few more of these painted doors were.
No, well, yeah, but it's neither here nor there.
Okay.
What you really need to know is that in 690,000 BP, the great render of flesh, pleased with the wanderers for making copious sacrifices of blood and bone before his impossible altar, gifts them with a titanic pillar made of screaming skin infused with ancient magics, a weapon they can use to destroy the fire cults once and for all.
Have you been talking to my roommate Michael Schroeder?
Please make the day move. What do you think is going to happen if you lose your nerve right now?
uh I have no idea how to answer this. Let's see. What am I afraid of? I honestly am afraid that uh Sheriff Hanscom is a psycho. Is that he's gonna make me run far away? Yeah.
Roll with
Uh,
composure. If you don't want to just end the conversation right now and drive off, roll with composure.
you have no idea how tempted I am to do the fucking Wayne's World like moment of just like the scream when the cop shows up and drive off, but no, I'll roll. I assume that I do have advantage because I am dealing with the cop once more.
You are indeed, yeah, yeah.
Do I have disadvantage from any of these?
Well, no, I don't think so.
Okay, love that. All right. Oh hell yeah, that is a 13.
Mm. Your bonus is, well, I'll give you your bonus in a moment. You're keeping it together. After he gives that, if Stree says that weird statement, he's like, "So what do you think of that?"
I think that's it sounds real huh. That's weird. Is there like, huh?
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's strange, right? I mean, well, and then of course there's 28,000 BCE. The first pact is made between the Flamekeepers and the Skystone Dwellers, activating places of power in the desert wastes that will keep the Bone Wolves and the Great Hungers at bay so that no harm will come to the children, that the people would sleep at night again, dreaming the dream of their bright future under the watchful stars.
Sheriff Hanscom, are you having a sunstroke?
What?
You were just rambling about a bunch of weird stuff and like really fast and intensely.
He's like, you know what? This is.
What was that about a flesh pillar and great hungers?
I'm sorry. I, I, I better go. I think maybe the heat's getting to me a little bit.
I like
just be careful, you and your friends, okay?
Sure. You got it, Sheriff. You got it. And it's like you roll up my window, and as like I look in the rear view and watch him walk back to the patrol car, Steve has this moment where he's just being like, well, I mean, that's not how I personally roll, but I'm not gonna knock a man for trying to talk about his flesh pillar. All right. Onward to the storage.
Indeed.
Weird.
Because you got such a good roll, I'm gonna give you his weird rambling statements as an Odyssey clue.
Oh, fuck yeah. Where are we tracking Odyssey clues right now? Oh, yeah, I see. They're attached to the tapes window. I see them. I'll add it as its own little thing.
Let's check in with Katie. Katie, what'd you get on your die roll?
7.
7, yeah. You had asked him, like, what do you know about the camp, or what have you seen?
Basically, yeah. If he's seen anything weird since he owned the place.
Yeah. He says, yeah, you know, there's a lot of strange things that happen. I mean, if you think about it, we're all just a few steps away from accidentally stepping into the other side, if you know what I mean.
Did you almost step into the other side?
I like to think that I have achieved perfect mastery of my mind and my inner spiritual realm. I like to practice yoga and meditation as part of my Buddhist faith. Do you meditate?
Well, I do crossword puzzles, but I'm not very good at them.
He's like,
Does that count?
obviously not. But I tell you what, I'd be happy to give you a lesson.
In meditation? Reaching into my inner self and pulling out all of the little moments of peace?
Yeah, something like that.
That sounds amazing. Like
I can
really
teach
cool.
you how to become one with your chakras.
I feel like I have a lot of chakras.
I can tell you have more than most, that's for sure. You're a pretty cool chick.
You're a pretty cool dude.
So, now that I've hired you, maybe you could tell me your name.
Oh, I'm Katie.
Katie.
I don't really have a cool name like you do.
Well, let's talk about that. I think you look kind of like a starfire, personally.
You know, I've always felt really close to the stars. And once I did accidentally set my hair on fire when I was using a curling iron.
It was like, it was meant to be.
How did you know that about me?
He takes his nunchucks and he like taps you on the shoulders like the queen knighting you and says, I dub thee Starfire.
Wow. Thank you.
um, Unfortunately, this is a condition, and you already have 3 conditions,
Yeah, we're
and
in trouble.
so you are going to replace Marked by Daniel Kwan with Starfire.
Starfire.
Yeah. And I do owe you a clue, which we'll get to. I think the clue is he's going to take you to go get your vest so you can be properly uniformed for your new job as camp counselor, and also like your social security number and all that business. And on the way, you will notice you'll notice that there is a ritual circle half hidden by the murky waters of the lake, just on the bank near the office. It's definitely some kind of strange ritual markings.
Because I had 3 conditions and I got a new one, I have to mark a key, correct?
You do, yes.
Okay. I'm going to mark a key of desolation, the sandstone arch.
Fantastic. It is marked. I want to kind of figure out what everyone's going to be doing in the next scene so we can figure out where to go from here. So, Steve, you are still going to be in my self storage then? Fantastic. Uh, Michael, what do you do while you're in the arcade?
I think I'm going to take a look, see at Zagreus itself, just to like see, like peer over its shoulder, not actually playing the game because I
Sure.
think it's probably still pretty cursed.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, Katie, once you get your vest, what are you going to do?
Well, after spotting this ritual circle on the bank of the lake, I think I'm going to be interested in if there's anything else around the lake, or even better, if I can get some scuba gear.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, that
Or
sounds
maybe
good.
snorkeling. It's one of those places that probably have snorkeling and not
There'll probably
scuba.
be something in the boathouse, I think. Joey can definitely get you in there if nothing else. So he can help you out. Okay, fantastic. Let's take a 5-minute break. We'll come back and do those things. Me and my self storage. It's one of those interior self storages, like the big building, and then you go inside and there's interior halls with the various storage units, and then there's even like a couple of floors of them. It is, in fact, a dimly lit labyrinth prone to outages. There are no windows, so it's very, very dark in there, Steve. There's flickering lights, peeling off-white paint, rusty roll-up doors. You can hear the occasional knocking and rattling of old pipes. As Steve walks down the corridors, let's paint the scene. As Steve walks down these corridors filled with shuttered doors, what do we imagine to be stored behind them? How does it make you feel, Steve?
I actually imagine that somewhere in this facility there is an entire like storage space filled with like the belongings of a teenager's bedroom, like their posters and their furniture, their clothes, all of them. One of probably a student that has died from any of those incidences that Bill was talking about, but like where like like a grieved parent would put that stuff away, like just to leave it shuttered. And I think it makes Steve feel, I don't know what the word for it is, but it's like the sensation of it's not really melancholy, but it's like this sense of like, it's the similar feeling you get when you're walking through a graveyard. Just this feeling of there's like a a sadness that doesn't make me feel sad. It just makes me feel uncomfortable.
Michael, what do you suppose is behind these doors?
Something a little less sincere than a grieving parent's recollection of their child, but more or less, I think someone is staying here, living in one of these storage spaces, trying to get by on very low rent. Someone who could be watching you right now, Steve Knutson.
I don't know if you heard that or not, Amanda, but we're walking down the dimly lit corridors of me and my self storage right now. So, Steve, what do you do?
I think he's looking for like the manager.
Okay, very good.
I mean, he's not just walking around blindly.
I think you'll find said manager. He's wearing a brown canvas jacket. Um, he will come up to you. He's got nicotine stained teeth and fingers, greasy hair, tired eyes. And he's like, "You trying to find your unit?"
I actually don't have a unit. I was actually wanting to inquire about how much renting a unit costs, new business, stuff like that.
It's $50 a month for air conditioned, $35 a month for no air conditioned. So climate control, 50,
Oh,
35, no climate control.
what do people
You're,
need air conditioned units for?
I don't know, like they're precious mementos and shit.
Oh, okay, the things that need to be, I guess, climate controlled. Okay, well, cool. All right, so 35. Is there like different sizes, or is it like just the same uniform size?
Uh, what do you have to store?
Well, no, I'm just curious. If okay, so it sounds like it's just set prices. Cool. Yeah, no, great. I was asking, like, whoa, hey, calm down there, bud. Uh, just okay. I don't have a lot of things in the immediate need, but there might be a little overflow. Say, you got any units that are like like abandoned, and like you do like the auctions? You do those lot auctions here? Do you need to
Eh,
sneeze there, bud? Is everything okay? I got like a box of Kleenex in my car.
just stop talking for a minute.
Oh, yeah, no, sure, you betcha. I will stop
So
talking.
you want so you want to you're looking to buy the contents of abandoned storage units.
Yeah, I mean, like I kind of am interested in the whole business, but sure, that sounds interesting as well.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go with that. Let's start with that. That sounds like fun.
Well, we have a list that we keep whenever such a thing happens,
Okay.
and you got to be on the list. And if you're the next name on the list, then we give you the call. But you're going to be way
Hey.
down on the list, so you might as well give it up.
Oh, hey, it is not in the lexicon of Clan Nudson to give up in the face
You
of
look too
adversity.
young to be caring about stuff like this. This is like old person stuff.
Hey, maybe I'm old at heart. Who knows? I could have been.
I could see that.
Yeah. So, why don't you just pencil down Mr. Steven Knudsen on your list of contacts? Yeah, I got toothpicks in my car if you think you need one. You got something stuck in your teeth there, bud?
I need a cigarette.
Oh, well, hey, I can help you out there.
You don't look like you smoke.
I don't, but I have them in my glove box.
Why do you keep cigarettes in your glove box if you don't smoke?
Because if I ever need to offer someone smokes and they don't have one, it's a nice thing to do.
Oh, it is. It's it's good. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Nice.
There you go. Here, step out. It's at the parking lot. Here, I'll get you a smoke.
So based off your accent, it sounds like you're from Canada or something.
Oh, pretty close. Minnesota, but real up close to the border there. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cold. Cold
Oh,
up
yeah.
there.
Oh, a blissful, frigid winter. It is wonderful. Real nice. Not at all. Yeah. You ever see snow? Buddy, are you okay?
I'm more of a desert man myself.
Yeah, something in your gums there?
Tim Crayley is my name.
Oh, Tim Crayley, Steve Knudsen. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you said that already.
Yep. So, you want me to give you a light there?
We actually had an auction for one of these units.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. Rare thing, the auction.
yeah.
You
Okay.
found that video game in it.
I heard about that, like a big old arcade cabinet.
Yeah, yeah,
Whose
yeah.
unit was that? Who was keeping that in their storage?
There are privacy laws that
Oh,
prevent me
okay.
from telling
Okay.
you that,
Gotcha.
but I might
Oh.
be able to be persuaded if you know the right buttons to press.
Oh, would those buttons happen to be labeled camel blue?
Oh, you know my heart, Steve Knudsen. My heart and my
Yeah.
lungs.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, take the pack. You're more than welcome to have them.
Ow, ow, ow. Go ahead and make the meddling move with
I'm so
presence.
uncomfortable. I'm so viscerally uncomfortable right now. Yeah, let's see how this goes. All right, that's a 9.
Very good. We'll pick that up. We'll wrap. That'll be your last day phase. Will be the resolution of that scene. We'll come to Michael. Michael, speaking of said video game, you're looking over the shoulder of some people playing it. You see a couple more people walk away from it, and they're all very disappointed. The game is not good. But it's classic arcade game. They put in their quarters, and there's a foolish mortal, dare ye face the Stygian perils of Zagreus. The game sucks though. Like it's really lame. It's a very indistinct, featureless protagonist descending into a so-called Stygian nightmare, but it's mostly just a bunch of weird little blocks, vaguely ghost-shaped blocks, and it's kind of like a rip-off of, I don't know, like a rip-off of
The bad ET game.
yeah, or like Popeye or something, or Crystal Caves or whatever that's called, Crystal Castles. It's not good. Um, the gameplay is terrible, and it's also very hard. So you lose your quarter within a minute. What are you doing in the meantime?
I think this is gonna sound a little bit weird, but Michael suspects that the bad gameplay of the game is intentional because there is some sort of secret ritual associated with the game.
Well, that's what they sound Vector Void, right? I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I take a look at the gameplay, nothing really there, but I'm taking a look on the outside of the sort of the art and is there any secret symbols there?
Interesting, interesting, interesting. I'm gonna let you do the meddling move with sensitivity.
Yeah, that is not great for me. Do I have disadvantage?
No.
Okay. Eh, Would would my dark web contacts be the vector void thing? Like the
Oh, you mean
yeah,
oh,
I got some information ahead of
oh,
time
okay,
to
sure, I like that. Yeah, yeah,
I know what's I'm looking for.
yeah. You can mark that to good advantage.
Be nice, dice. The dice continue to be cruel, but that is an 8, thankfully.
Nice. I owe you a clue. Katie Wright. You and Joey are at the boathouse, and he's like, he's kind of like getting some snorkeling equipment, getting some stuff down. There's also like other little things in the boathouse, kayaks, canoes stacked in neat rows, a fresh coat of paint over the rust, um, paddles and life jackets strewn about the floor. And he says, so you want to go in the water? Like directly in the water, Katie?
Yeah, I think I want to grab like a snorkeling kit and
Yeah.
take a look.
He says, okay, well, I mean, do you want someone to go with you to keep you safe?
Well, I mean, you're not supposed to swim alone, so yeah, that makes sense. If you wouldn't
Right.
mind.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
I am a lifeguard after all.
Yeah, that way if I drown, you can save my life.
I'm probably supposed to be watching the kids right now. There's a bunch of them on the swimming pier, but they'll be all right.
Oh yeah.
As you get into the lake, the dark waters are deep enough so that you can't see the bottom, at least from the surface. The surface is surprisingly calm and still. The only sound, just the little ripple when you both get in, and of course the splashing out by the swimming pier. There's quite a stark absence of mosquitoes, dragonflies, and other bugs. Let's paint the scene, everyone. Just from touching the water, how do we know the lake is greedy?
The water has a slightly slimy feel to it that remains on your skin as if it's loath to let you properly dry it off.
I think the water is also more aerated than other bodies of water. So the density of things in changes. And as people know, in highly aerated water, if it's aerated enough, you just sink right down. So I think there's this pull down into the water that other bodies of water don't have.
There is a lot of plant life growing up from the bottom, and it's so easy to get yourself entangled within it.
So, what do you do once you're in the water, Katie?
Uh, I think I want to just, I mean, it's quite deep, so I don't think I'll swim all the way down to the bottom, but I do want to go down and just get an idea of what it looks like along the lake bottom. What sort of things are down there, what sort of plants, etc.
Go ahead and make the meddling move with vitality at disadvantage because of the next victim.
Nine.
9. We're about to wrap up our day phase. Well, truth be told, I don't really know who this unit belongs to. There's no record of who it belongs to. But someone's been paying the fee for years and years. Well, until recently. That's why we had the auction. We couldn't figure out who to get in touch with. Weird, right?
Yeah, that's certainly a little weird.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You want to know something else weird?
You got my attention there, Tim.
Take a look at this. He takes you to the unit. He unlocks it, rolls the gate up. Inside the unit, it's covered with drawings of labyrinths. Like some insane person was in there just scrawling labyrinths all over the interior walls of the storage facility. The facility is mostly cleared out by now. Because of the auction, Tim says, "Pretty freaky shit, huh?"
Pretty freaky shit indeed there, Tim.
Yeah. This is some real unsolved mysteries type stuff. Some real Mulder and Scully shit going on in here.
You said it, Tim.
Maybe we're Mulder and Scully. We're the DeGoya County equivalent. You can be Scully.
Okay, sure. I'm the one with the doctorate.
You know they actually filmed that in Vancouver.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, it's where most places are filmed. I think for that. Yeah, weird. He's just looking at all these like mazes and like
He's in. And then what do you think of this? And he strides over. There's a hatch in the floor. He's like, and he like undoes the hatch. He's like, there's something beneath the unit.
I take it that hatches are not included in the base fee.
They are not indeed. I haven't worked up the nerve to go down there yet. But there's a ladder and everything.
Well, your buddy Knudsen, I have recently begun delving into dark places to pretty thorough effect. Maybe there's a you want me to take a look down there for you?
I'm letting some motorcycles pass. He says, I mean, yeah, if you want to. I mean, there's probably all kinds of liability considerations, but.
Ah, come on. Ah, come on.
All right. I'll stay up here. Look out.
Hell yeah.
You know?
Hell yeah. See, you made a good choice, Tim. I'm going to help you out because that's what we Knudsens do.
When you get down into the hatch, it does go down a little ways, maybe 20 feet, 30 feet or so. It appears to be a series of tunnels beneath Deep Lake. Utility tunnels. But you've never heard about there being such tunnels beneath Deep Lake. And also, me and my self-storage is not exactly right in Deep Lake either. Curious.
Huh.
Tunnels beneath the storage facility where Zagreus was found. All very strange.
Is that a formal clue?
It is not. Your clue is the labyrinths, but
Gotcha.
you now have access. He says, so you expressed an interest in renting a unit.
I did, and this one seems pretty available. Wink,
Yeah.
wink.
Yeah.
Uh-huh, 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 uh-huh.
All right. You twisted my arm. It's yours.
You're a discerning businessman, Tim.
You have access to the tunnels. You can put that in your corner of the house as a thing in case it's useful. But to memorialize it more than anything. And that'll be your day phase. Michael Schroeder. I'll give you your clue straight away. Your clue is you can see all around the outer edges of the cabinet of Zagreus what appear to be scratches, like marks, claw marks maybe, And you can even see stuck inside the sort of vinyl coating what appear to be chipped fingernails, as if somebody was scratching deeply into it, and they scratched so hard that it kind of pulled part of their fingernails off. I don't know what the dark web had to say about that, except that maybe you were told that there might be something inside the cabinet that would be of interest, but you'll notice that before you have a chance to poke around any more than that. And then, sitting over at a snack man machine, wacka, 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 is our good friend the big man. You can't even tell what he's playing except by the noise because he's so big, he obscures it. And his yellow suit looks kind of weirdly purplish and white in the strange light of the arcade. He's smoking a cigarette, and he raises his big hand. His back is facing you, and he kind of like beckons you over, like he knows you see him. What do you do?
I think I'll go on over there.
Yeah. He says, well, I see you just can't help yourself. You have to just keep on digging, peeling back the layers, trying to find out what you can find, despite my entreaties to the opposite, despite my benevolent urgings that you let all of this go. Here you are.
Just a lot of it is just bringing back memories about the things used to be, and like, if you know me at all, I just can't resist these types of things. You see just Michael just pulling on the shirt like nervously, like of the Stick Society.
He turns to you after his snack man dies. And he says, I was never very good at these games. When he turns to you, you can see that he's changed. He is a little odd. For starters, maybe you think it's just a trick of the weird light in Galaxia, but his eyes appear to be glowing white when he turns to face you. And his arms look longer than you remember from the other day. And as he kind of handles the joystick, you can see that his left hand has 6 fingers on it. But also, he looks bad. His skin is puffier. It's sagging more dramatically. His teeth are slimy and yellow. He even looks a little thinner. And I don't mean just his bulk, but also like the character of his skin looks thinner, weirdly translucent almost. I fear for you and your friends. I fear for this world. I fear for all of us. I fear the seams that hold our reality together are ready to burst, and many-mouthed horrors will spill forth from those tears in the cosmic fabric. But I'm gonna just put another quarter in and keep on playing.
I don't think this is the first time I'm trying to investigate this. But this time I have some sort of strength, a little bit more freedom now, a little bit more cleverness. A child cannot find out what happened to DiBiase, but I can.
Right. We'll see. Well, let me give you some advice. If you find yourself feeling the urge to poke around inside that Vigigame cabinet, I suggest you resist that urge. It has nothing to do with the TV station. You hear? Nothing whatsoever.
It may not, but it has everything to do with my friends, and I shall find them at once again. They won't disappear because I am still here to bring them all back.
Wacka, 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 wacka. God damn it. I hate these games. Katie Wright. What'd you get on your die?
That was at disadvantage, so that's a 9.
None. I'll tell you what you see, and I'll tell you the complication. What you see, floating. Not floating, but sinking. A waterfowl, a duck perhaps. Clearly bitten in half. That's your clue. The complication, when you surface, Joey's nowhere to be seen. What do you do?
Do I see any bubbles or movement in the water as to indicate where he was last?
No.
I'm gonna dive back down and see if I can see him.
This is going to be the day move. What do you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
That I'm not gonna find him and he's gonna get dragged further underwater.
Make the roll with composure.
Okay, hold on. Let me just check my house. That's the corner of the house. Luckily, I am wearing my lucky hair scrunchie. It's gold and sequins.
Very well. You can roll with advantage if you mark that.
That was with composure. That is a 12.
Nice.
Trophy days are treating me good today.
Yeah, the trophy days were very kind, it seems. You'll see him, and he's diving really deep. He's found something. And that's your bonus because you're 12. I'm going to give you another clue. When you finally surface, the both of you, he says, look at this. And he hands you yeah. He hands you like a tube like a watertight tube. He's like, what do you suppose is in it? This is like some kind of like treasure hunt shit.
Let's get back to the shore and we'll open it.
And you do. You pop it open. Inside, there's a map. A map of the Deep Lake Nature Preserve, which is nearby. Covered in symbols, but not really symbols. They're like little Sharpie drawn markings of eyeballs, or like eyes, in various parts of this nature preserve map. What do you think it means?
I don't know, but I think it has something to do with the disappearances.
God, these fucking motorcycles. Oh.
Don't they know you're playing a game? Gosh.
I know. I wish they'd just go ride somewhere else.
Yeah.
Please. Fantastic. That'll wrap the day phase. That's a great cut for the day phase. I want to check in and see, are you all ready to watch another tape for this night phase? You have 2 tapes to watch. I just need one character to be watching a tape, and just I need to know where you're watching the tape.
I feel like we gotta watch some tapes.
Yeah, it kind of
I feel like I would like to watch the new Deep Lake tape that we just got. That
Off
I
the
just
beaten
stole.
path. Yeah, it makes
off the
sense.
beaten
Yeah.
path. Okay.
There's probably somewhere like now that I'm staff, I can go to the staff room and watch it in there.
Do you all feel like you want to try to answer one of the questions?
I at least one of the questions. I feel
At
ready
least.
to tackle at least one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do too.
What are your thoughts? What do we think?
How about we start with Deep Lake Lurker, just because that's the threshold, and we've got a ton for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the question we need to answer for Deep Lake Lurker is the Deep Lake Lurker a horrid beast or a transformed Jessica Stosky? I think it's Jessica
Mm-hmm.
Okay, why?
because the water spat a man back out, presumably her father. So maybe she retains a little bit of her humanity and did not want to drown her father. I think the map of the Deep Lake Nature Preserve covered in symbols with the eyeballs, I think Jessica was going through her teenage witchy phase.
Mm-hmm.
And during her teenage witchy phase, she was doing, little spells and things that she thought of out around Deep Lake to try and bring out magic. And it went a little awry, went a little wrong. And that's what happened with her. And I think that's a map of different places that she was visiting around Deep Lake to do her little, witchy stuff.
Interesting. We can, and I think we can. I mean, and Emily was her best friend, so Emily can
Yeah.
maybe confirm that. Yeah, she
Totally.
was kind of doing spooky stuff at that time.
Yeah.
So then, okay, that's 2
And no
clues.
judgment on a teenage girl witchy phase. It's
No,
a very
go for it.
important
Yeah.
part of
Yeah.
your life. I think also the waterfowl bitten in half sinking into the lake. I think that it is still when children, teenagers are biting into and eating food that they don't really like, they only eat like a tiny piece of it, but they'll break it up into pieces to make it look like they've eaten it.
Okay.
That's what that reminds me of. Like, I didn't really want to eat this bird, but I need to eat a little.
It's interesting because that clue is highly suggestive of a beast, I would say.
Yeah.
And I will say, just for the record, I'm in camp. Actually, I want this to be a beast, but only because every time I've answered this question has been done in the campaign, it's always been
Oh,
Jessica. Really? But like,
Yeah, this is my first time playing it.
Yeah,
so.
no. So you've been investigating this one, so I'm fine with whatever. So keep going.
I like it. I like that. That's an interesting interpretation, I think. Yes.
I think too, the sinking ceremony with the kids performing this thing, I think that just harkens again back to Jessica's idea, like witchy phase, and that's where she got the idea of doing all of this around Deep Lake.
Yeah.
I think the type of beast that she is the lake itself.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And she can, at certain times, form like a water beast that can move about but has to return to the water before
I mean,
she
that might be.
evaporates.
I don't think we can say that yet.
That's what I'm thinking.
But that's it. But to just answer the simple question, is it like an actual beast, or is it Jessica Stosky, some sort of version of Jessica Stosky?
I do have a theory that is, if it's okay for me to spin it, for it being a beast as opposed to Jessica, is because so with the map covered in eye symbols, and so I have this idea of like beast in a very vague sense, but it's like in a similar concept where it isn't something that lives in the lake, it is the lake, like, or at least a strong manifestation where it's like it's in the groundwater at this point. Like it's like the covered in symbols of like eyeballs and stuff. It's like literally everything here is nourished by the lake and by the waters of the lake. And so like the symbols, the eyes are literally representative of like it's everywhere that the water nurtures, like everywhere that this place touches is part of its like collective mass that it can like observe through. And the ritual bank on the sides of the lake and the strange medallions and the sinking ceremony, this all points to it being like some sort of like there being sacrifices to the lake, like things that people have been done to like placate the thing. I actually think that the what makes the lurker a beast is specifically post the camp being shut down. It's like the absence of these things has caused it to be more to create a beast to actually hunt and feed because it isn't be receiving the sacrifices. It's because like the legends of the lurker were just the cover-ups of the fact that people were sacrificed to the power of the lake. But it was like now there actually is a beast, like an actual monster that is part of. And I actually think maybe like we don't have a lot of clues to like necessarily say this specifically, but with the gouge marks clawed into a tree, I think that if you, and there are no bears around, I think that if you look at those very closely, they're like, it looks less like the gouges from like claws or teeth, but like from like sharp, like almost like tools or implements. Because I think that the beast the lake has formed is an amalgamation of like detritus and like water trash, like wood and like broken like ancient bones that have sunk to the bottom of the silt. Like it is, the lake has created a vessel of congealed like matter that it like of out in it's lumbering around. But the lake spitting him back out is more indicative of it, the lake itself being this like presence of power. And then this like half-eaten waterfowl was like it was bitten in half. It's because the lake is up until recently not been like a tangible force. It's rather a creature. Like it's really finding its footing and like interacting and like in eating things. Like it has like this awkward form. I think that if you look at the way that waterfowl was bitten in half, you can see that it's like this thing doesn't really adhere to like proportions of like, this thing like of a jaw strike. It's like, no, this thing basically just looks like three different sharp things were just kind of like gnashing up against it. It's not an effective like form, but it's something that it has done out of like a hungered desperation for seeking its own nourishment in lieu of the sacrifices.
They're both really interesting theories.
Yes.
I am I mean, I do think we have to stick to what we know, and I don't think you can like necessarily connect the medallions and the sinking ceremony and the ritual circles to it being a beast unless you have already like to me that's I don't know if you can like make the leap of saying like it is a beast that we're sacrificing something to. Like that's answering more of its like motivations more than like what it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like I could see like the sort of the medallions, but it's more or less that the kids are that went missing, specifically being kids, because like it didn't eat the adult and it really couldn't eat the bird. It just can only eat the specific category of quote unquote meat, if that makes sense.
I like where Alex's theory is going as a general matter, but I think like when we're just answering the basic question of is it a horrid beast or a transformed Jessica Stosky, I think we just have to kind of stick to the confines of that question, right? And the motivations, that's later, right? Like what does it actually
Oh,
want
that's
or
true. That is
do,
true.
you know?
Just for what it is. That's right.
Yeah, just like what is it a basic level?
I just realized that I was using all of the clues, and
Yeah,
that
you
without
also
even
used all the clues.
realizing.
Yeah.
Did not mean to do that. Just blanked out. Yeah, no. For in terms
No,
of
it's all good for discussion purposes.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
but to me,
But for just the core,
what is
ones,
the
yeah,
core?
yeah.
What is it? Is it Jessica or is it a monster?
It's a monster. In my theory that it is a monster manifested by the power of the lake. It's yeah, that's what it is. It is a monster.
So okay, yeah. So all right, Chaotic, do you have an alternative thought?
Like I agree that it is like a monster. Like it doesn't seem to like been like reaching out. Like this is less of a capital C clue, or lowercase c clue. It has not really reached out to like any of us besides like, oh, we're gonna try to like kill you, sort of type of deal. It hasn't like say any like spooky hauntings. Like the
I see. Yeah, it's only manifested like with violence, basically.
Yeah. It's only been like we've seen just like the remains of what seem like more bestial interactions, like between the corpse and the tree. So that's in the way. Removing my full use of every clue, taking a step back with the map of the nature preserve, I still think that applies to how this contextualizes it as a beast, because I think that it's, if nothing else, it's a very good clue for it being a, actually no, that one might actually work more for the second question. I'd be fine pulling that one back and replacing it with the ritual circle on the bank of the lake just being evidence of like this being a thing that is like quite old, and people have sacrificed to like the lake before. And maybe even in that ritual circle there is some depiction of a beast-like shape that is made out of like river pebbles and stones, that is like a little totem in sort of that ritual circle instead.
I mean, Amanda, do you want to go to bat more for Jessica?
No, I like this idea too. I'm not sold. Like I'm not beholden and in love with the idea of it.
I mean, I think
Jessica,
that
it works as a beast for me too.
the tree with the large claw marks gouging a tree. I just think that's like the most obvious, like it's a beast clue, as well as the water. I think the waterfowl in half is the most like obvious, like it's a beast clue.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Map and the ritual circle actually tie in together if you're going to use it as clues for the beast. In that, if this is a beast, people have lived here for way longer than the camp existed.
Right.
And if this lake has had this power to create a beast like this, it's probably done it before. And they're probably trying to, people like olden days people were probably trying to stop it from happening, which is where they've marked off the places where the lake can see you. On this map, which is why there's a ritual circle to show that to feed the lake, you feed the lake here, so the beast doesn't arrive.
What if the map is really old, and that just speaks to the fact that it's something older than the kids that we're missing, right?
Yep, that's it.
That might be enough, right?
I think that's it.
Yep. So we have
the tree, ancient beast.
We have the
it's
tree,
not
the
Jessica.
Ritual circle, the map, and the waterfowl. Yep.
Yeah. So the ritual. Well, so I mean, the waterfowl, the map. What's the ritual circle? How does that say it's a beast?
Further connection to it being this. This has been here, and there are these ritual circle sites that do line up with the map. Clearly, this has been around for much longer than there have been kids going on this.
Got it. Okay. Yep. Okay. So just ancient. Got it.
Yep.
Okay,
just ancient.
I think also the idea. I like Alex's idea that this ancient thing is something that the lake creates when it's starving.
But that's something for the second question.
I think it's for this. I think it's for the second question, though.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
That would be a flat roll if you're all content with a flat roll.
I'm content with a flat roll.
Yeah, let's do it.
I mean, this has been Katie's bag the entire time, front to back. So you should roll, Amanda.
I'll do it. Let's see how this goes.
See if your kind dice are kind still.
That is a 9. So
9. They are kind. You are correct. It is a horrid beast. You now have unlocked the next question on this mystery, which is, where is the creature's lair? Opportunity is complexity 4. Opportunity, resolve the mystery by finding the bodies of the missing children. Then, if you wish, find a way to contain the deep lake lurker or destroy it. So, yeah.
And I also have theories for Escondido Street.
Okay, let's do it.
Right.
Let's hear it.
So let me preface this just because for chaotic knowledge as well. I'm doing some power gaming tactician stuff here because I have theories of a way to answer both of them. So for the question of if we do want it, well, actually, let me check in. Do we want to answer the how can we lure Elliot to us? Like, are we feeling that, Michael? And
I'm fine. I'm fine with it. Mechanically speaking, I'm not that interested in Michael as a story perspective. Like, I'm just like
Elliot.
Elliot. I'd like because I'm just like, I know in other campaigns like Elliot doesn't really get used all that much. So like I'm just like,
Elliot was huge in Signals from the Other Side.
But there was like a chunk of like 6 sessions where he dropped off.
That's true. They did. Yeah. He was there for a long time, though.
He was only there a long time.
Yeah.
All right. Well then. Okay. So if we don't answer that, then I have a theory that uses all these clues. But I'll start us off with just the basics and then go from there as to what happened with the Rappaports. I think they have been split across multiple timelines. That there is a nexus of weird shit that happened at one point, and they literally just got fragmented across multiple different timelines. We see this in the sense of deja vu that Stephen experienced firsthand. And we also see this with the Candyland board and also the chess game being played by itself. The Candyland board is clearly an alternate version of the actual game with weird additions. So that is some sort of like, the house isn't haunted. The house is literally like almost like a, I hesitate to like say sentient, but like this like amalgam of like fractured timelines of, and like that's also like why like the shit that happened with you, Michael, in the house with all of your like the hauntings, literally all of these different like splinter aspects of timelines like reasserting themselves onto you and like manifesting them. But
it sounds like it's also other realities as well.
Yeah, like that's kind of like timelines, reality, stuff like that. It's just like this like fragmented thing. The chess game being played by itself specifically, though, if we were answering that, like how can we lure Elliot to us, I was going to use the Candyland board and the chess game on that one. But for this theory of just using them all in, I can see like a reality where that chess game being played by itself is more context of like effectively like what these like fractured splinters of what remains of the Rappaports, these like influences they hold very loosely, like maybe like Mr. Rappaport really liked playing chess, and like all that remains of him as a cohesive identity is the fact that like this chessboard is playing against itself. They're all effectively like dead, right? Like they're gone, like, but like there are these like splinter remains of like their personality traits. I'll start on that.
I think that kind of explains the basement situation, right? Because like you saw a version that had the basement basically, right?
Yes.
Which I think explains the height marks on the door, and there was a year missing, so maybe that year was missing at a time. It went missing at a time when there was no basement, right? Like when the realities kind of were a little funny there.
Because that mark is missing because it was overlapped by a reality in which one of the Rappaport kids died.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
exactly. It's like
right.
it's always like stacked layers.
Yeah. That's great. I love that. This is really, really intriguing. So what about the doors? The little doors. There's also the phone number hastily scrawled down with the 3-note oddity.
I think
Also,
the
the
phone
fact that the
number is from a
Rappaports were in debt.
reality. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
I think the phone number is from a reality where World War II turned out differently.
I was literally about to say it is from a reality where the Nazis won. Yep,
that's a bad place. We don't like it. They can go away.
No, I was happy. Well, I had 2 thoughts in my head, and both of them involved Nazis. I was literally like, there is one where it's a reality where the Nazis won, but there's also a reality where in the very real history of Operation Paperclip, Nazi scientists who were brought over and worked for American labs, there is also an angle for like if you wanted to take the more sci-fi route with this, where there could have been like, you know,
a lot
like
of those Nazi scientists ended up in New Mexico.
Yep.
Let's just
Yes, they
throw
did.
that out
Yes, they
there.
did.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
they did. And actually, maybe both of them in our minds, they're not huge on this theory, but like in my mind, like maybe they both exist, where there was possibly some post World War II experiments that happened in the deserts of this area. And it's also very oxen free with like the nuclear submarine. There are these echoes of all these different things. Maybe there was some kind of experiment in like and this is how you connect the doors into it as well, where it's like there are these like Deep Lake, and it said the doors were all over Deep Lake, not Sequoia County. So like Deep Lake is like there's like a fracturing in Deep Lake, and 18 Escondido is where the hammer hit the glass, you know, so to speak.
Oh, and like there is like this issue where like after the Rappapors disappeared, the house didn't transfer hands anymore. What if the reason the Rappapors even moved in there in the first place was because like they got paid to do so, because that's where the experiment was happening?
Oh, that explains the debt.
Yeah.
They were in debt.
They were in debt. Oh, that's intriguing. So
And
on some level, they knew what they were doing.
And I think with that debt, like as a matter of just like the fiction, it's very easy for us to say like, oh, we get in contact with Debbie Rappaport and she says, oh, they only moved there because they got like a hell of a good like bonus on doing it. Like,
or the
some
house
kind
was
of, like,
subsidized or something.
subsidized,
Yeah,
like, stuff like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. I love it.
Oh, and what I like about this theory is that we are kind of canonizing or just establishing how the keys work, like literally in fiction, is that there's literally a breakdown of reality and timeline slippage happening, and keys and doors, and oh my god, it's lined up.
And if you get a 12 plus on this answer a question roll, this will also factor into what happened to TV Odyssey. So who wants to roll with a +1? It's a good theory. It's a great theory, actually.
I want Michael to roll it.
Oh god, I'm just terrible. Like, okay, I'm
You're the one
picking-
who's been so gung-ho, and Steve is feeling nice because it's like, I was right, it's not haunting. It's not ghosts.
I'm taking out my trophy dice because they've been rolling well for Amanda.
Okay.
Okay, that's not bad. That's a 9
Plus
Okay.
1.
plus that's +1 with a +1.
Oh, with
so-
plus
Okay.
one's 9.
Gotcha.
So you cannot bump it up to a 12 plus. Alas. But you can bump it up to a 10, though, if you would like to avoid any
Yeah, I would like that.
added
Let's
complications.
turn the key of the cave dweller.
Mhm.
Yeah. Very well. Each latchkey will narrate a flashback to a fun activity they used to do with their family while at home. We are getting close to our time for today. So what I think we're going to do is we will go to Stars and Wishes here in a bit. But for next time, we will kick off with the key of the cave dweller. Everybody will narrate that. Then we will introduce the Odyssey tape and have our night phase. We might just do like a long night phase and kind of see where the story goes from there. But you will have, after the narration of that Odyssey tape, you will have 4 Odyssey clues. So right now, because you have 3, you are entitled to try to answer the question, what happened to TV Odyssey? You'd be doing it with a -3 on the die roll, but you could attempt it. So if you all find yourselves running out of keys to turn, you can now have a go at the TV Odyssey question to try to go ahead and get to endgame, because answering it successfully triggers the endgame. So
And effectively, we would avoid all the circumstances of the Bone Wolves, the Night of the Bone Wolves, wouldn't we?
yes, exactly. You could solve finish the campaign before you get to that. So in that case, the Night of the Bone Wolves functions more like a fail state. So yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and go to Stars and Wishes, though. What a session. This is really great. Who wants to kick off?
Yeah, I'll just be quick with mine. So I want to star a lot of what was going on with Michael's character today. Chaotic, you kind of have set him up in the previous couple sessions. Like a little bit more like awkward, a little bit more intense in the ways of like the investigation with Escondido Street. But I feel like we're getting more with like the actual like layers of what you as the player are intending for like Michael behind the scenes. So like a lot of like, hey, Michael is kind of weird. Hold on, wait a second. What's going on with him? He has a weird past with disappeared friends. It's very cool. I really like the intensity with which you were that you exploring that with his character today, particularly with this like dedication of being like, I will get them back. There's a whole thing going on there that now I'm intrigued to see flesh out. Amanda, gotta say that this is star to you as a player, because I'll leave more specific Katie stars to others. But star to you as a player, you have been the only person investigating the Deep Lake Lurker, and credit to you as a very collaborative storyteller of just being like, oh, the two players who have absolutely not been involved in this whatsoever, you're still very open to like their theories and their involvement. So this is just a start of you being as like a very collaborative player, and love you for that. Hey, Jason, Tim Crayley, don't stop. So gross. That was I think those were the worst mouth sounds you've ever made. I think that truly, this is a star, by the way, that this was, of all the gross, disgusting mouth things you've done, Tim Crayley might be the most egregious. It was, for me, it wasn't all the, it wasn't the teeth sucking and the smacking and the tongue clicks. For me personally, it was the moment where you just hitched up your upper lips and are just like doing that for a while, and it creeped me the fuck out. It was very effective. And I will always star the weird tongue rolls you can do for the Zagreus noises, because you do that every time, and I don't know how you do that. I can't do that with my tongue. That like back of the tongue rolls, I can't do that. It's a great sound. It's really fun. And overall, that appearance of the big man also very, very disquieting. I have to say, like, this is a star for the skinny jeans rules. We already went into this saying it was like leaner, meaner, and weirder, but there is something that feels substantively different with the big man making his first real appearance to us as players last session. And then this session, him being the full on, like, now he's like going straight to him being like decayed, and because we've gone through the layers so quickly, there's something really like off-putting about the way public access plays in this medium, but I think like in a way that is a strength. Yeah, I don't know, this version of Deep Lake feels more urgent, and I also just really like everyone's theories, and I'm excited to see what happens next. So looking forward. And for wishes, I need Steve and Katie to have some time together. I need to have Steven do things outside of the immediate vicinity of Steve's life. But my big wish is mostly just like, I really want to get into more of what's going on with Michael's friends. This is interesting.
My stars are very, very similar. The whole nostalgia scene with Steve and Michael at the very beginning, that was amazing. It was fantastic role play. It was every little piece that you were both doing, even though you were just in the moment, it felt so deliberate. It didn't feel like it was improv. It felt like you were really, this is what the characters will say, and they're going to say it. And I thought it was just perfect. It was so funny. I also absolutely hate Tim. He's just disgusting. I wrote down, Tim is probably the most disgusting side character I've ever seen. I hate him. So huge stars for that, because like literally at one point the hair, I mentioned this in chat, the hair on the back of my neck stood up. I was so grossed out, like just so grossed out by him. So huge stars for that. I wrote down, I'm not going to knock a man for talking about his flesh pillar, because what a line. So yeah, the role play in this was just fantastic, and I really liked how everybody is leaning into the quickness of the characters and how things are going. Like Chaotic, you're always amazing at these characters that have sort of a slow burn reveal. Like every single time I've played with you, your side characters, your player characters, like all the time. And seeing it ramped up like this for Michael is so cool, and seeing these really momentous things that you're just dropping in casually. That's a wish. I'm really excited to see what happens with Michael, because he's very interesting. Another wish again is to get the party back together and do some group things. Maybe I can get a nostalgia move in and get one of these conditions cleared, but it'll take a while, I'm sure. Yeah, this was a really, really great session. I'm really, really digging Skinny Jeans. It's super cool and fast paced. And like Alex said, it feels urgent. It feels like your decisions are really important in the moment and necessary, and you have to act quickly because everything is moving so fast in a really cool way. So thumbs up for Skinny Jeans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely have to give a star for Alex for the theory for the house on Escondido Street, because like I of myself have been like sort of slowly building up a theory in the background of just like this idea of like, oh, like it is very supernatural. Of course, there is probably like a demonic cult involved. Um, Probably Michael has had some sort of like encounter with it in the past. So in that this is why like he's such drawn to this mystery and keeps on getting sort of like threatening messages and like callbacks to the past and whatnot. But I didn't expect it to like suddenly like take this theory and then chuck it out the window and like have this like really sci-fi bent of like government conspiracy. And it just like, of course it makes sense, how could it have been anything else? So like kudos for that. Also, Katie, I love how Katie is consistently in a different genre than the rest of us. Of just like, it's like I have no other way to describe it as like a sort of like Katie's building up like a harem of guys. Like, like it's just amazing. Um, Jason, again, echoing with what everyone said, Tim, I don't want to meet Tim. I really don't. He's just awful. I don't want to talk to him. Like Michael would get into a fist fight in like within the first like 10 seconds. So like it's just awful. Um Also, it is a very interesting lineup of mysteries, like because a lot of like in my own like public access game, I've not introduced the Deep Lake Lurker or Zagreus yet. So like yeah, like I consider like these to be like near end game sort of type of deal. So it's very fascinating that these are like early game for you. So like
Oh yeah, I do Deep Lake Lurker, the first one right after Escondido
mhm.
Street. Yeah, usually.
But yeah, I'm just having a good time.
Yeah, stars. I had a lot. I was really enjoying a lot of the. I really loved the early nostalgic move scene. That was really terrific. It was such a. It was really funny. It was really funny, and just when you thought like just when you thought the scene wasn't going anywhere, it wasn't going anywhere. But it was really funny, and like, and it was, and it had like an awkwardness to it that was really enjoyable to watch and observe as an audience member. And I liked it because I kind of feel like that's what a lot of these scenes with these like people who came together under these weird circumstances of their own volition and are maybe kind of regretting it a little bit and kind of really don't vibe with each other otherwise. Like I kind of feel like that's what the scenes would be like in real life in the house, and so that was really great. I had a lot of fun playing some of my favorite side characters. I had a lot of fun with the Sheriff Hanscom scene. Billy James is a treat, and so I was really enjoying kind of stars for Alex and Amanda for volleying back and forth with those scenes. It was really enjoyable. I had a lot of fun playing the big man today as well, and so um, yeah, everybody was just kind of giving me good stuff to kind of play off of and play with, and it was really enjoyable. I'm really quite enjoying Skinny Jeans edition. I think the word that urgency is an interesting way of putting it. I would say immediacy. There's an
Mm.
immediacy to it, like TV Odyssey, and my big goal of like TV Odyssey staying really central to things is happening. Like we have not lost sight of TV Odyssey in any of this. Like everyone is like you're thinking about TV Odyssey more actively, and I think that's
Mhm.
important. Um, and I also just think that there's a sense of everything feeling a little more interconnected as well, right? Because there's a possibility of every mystery having something to do with TV Odyssey, and so that is really enticing. And I think it kind of changes just the fact that it's possible. I think changes your perspective and your outlook on the whole thing, right? And so that's really enjoyable. Star for the answer questions, particularly the one for Escondido Street. I really enjoyed that. And I'm excited for what the second question answer is going to be for Deep Lake, because I think everybody was kind of anxious to answer the next question, not the initial question, right? But yeah, the Escondido Street answer was terrific, and it really, even though it wasn't a 12 plus and doesn't have a mechanical weight towards answering the TV Odyssey question, I think it's got to have something to do with the actual solution of what's going on, right? It's really, really interesting context for all of this. And so just very, very good stuff all around. Yeah, just excited to continue. My wish for next time is actually really specific. I want to be able to wrap a night phase, a day phase, and another night phase next session. That's my hope. So it'll be maybe a really short day phase basically next time, but that's okay. I don't think I have anything else though. Are we all set? Anything else anybody wants to call out? Okay, then I will wave goodbye to people watching the video.